I'm Nick Leali, and I serve as one of the Forum of Incident Response and Security Team's Common Vulnerability Scoring System Special Interest Group co-chair since November 2023. I also work for Cisco as a Product Security Incident Response Team Incident Manager. This year actually marks my 20th year with Cisco, where I've learned a lot about the vulnerability management ecosystem. My involvement with FIRST began in 2019, when I joined as Cisco's representative for the CVSS Special Interest Group. In my previous roles, I had extensive experience working with CVSS since 2009, which sparked my interest in helping to develop the new CVSS version 4 standard that was being created at that time. At Cisco, I managed reports of vulnerabilities in our products, services, and software. We use CVSS to perform vulnerability impact assessments. CVSS is a 0 to 10 scale, where 0 represents no impact and 10 indicates a critical vulnerability with severe consequences. CVSS isn't just used by Cisco, it's become an important standard across the entire information security industry. Many vendors from hardware to software to services, national vulnerability databases, and platforms like GitHub all rely on CVSS for their vulnerability assessments. It provides a common language for communicating vulnerability severity across the global security community. CVSS version 4 was released in November 2023, less than 2 years ago, representing significant evolution in the standard. This wasn't a small update. Each version improves upon the previous one based on years of implementation experience and feedback from the cybersecurity community. It's worth noting that standards require stability, which is why many organizations are still using version 2 or version 3, which is perfectly acceptable. Standards like these typically have a long transition period, and we don't anticipate version 5 for several years at least. Currently, our SIG is focusing heavily on implementation guidance and documentation. We've been working on examples that demonstrate the nuances of vulnerability evaluation, especially our examples document, which I had a lot of fun creating. I think providing practical assessment examples is the most effective way to communicate the complex decisions behind how each CVSS metric is chosen. Last year, we started a CVSS survey to understand pain points about the standard and documentation to guide our efforts. Right now, we're working on a comprehensive CVSS adoption and implementation guide, explaining how vulnerability managers can practically incorporate CVSS into their overall security programs. Through FIRST, we're seeing how frameworks like CVSS work hand in hand with other standards. For example, the exploit prediction scoring system is a great complementary system. While CVSS assesses what an attacker could do if they exploited a vulnerability, EPSS predicts whether a vulnerability is likely to be exploited in the first place. There's also stakeholder-specific vulnerability categorization, which focuses on classifying systems that could be impacted, particularly in critical infrastructure. These 3 sets of metrics help gauge what a vulnerability management process should prioritize for any given vulnerability. From a trends perspective, the vulnerability landscape has changed dramatically since I began working with CVSS. The pace of vulnerability disclosure and discovery is faster than ever. Without mature vulnerability management programs that incorporate automation, organizations can quickly become overwhelmed by the sheer volume. That's why CVSS version 4 and other vulnerability information exchanges have become increasingly machine-readable, allowing for programmatic handling across different platforms. The regulatory landscape has also evolved from what was once a relatively unstructured environment. Frameworks like the EU's Cyber Resilience Act are driving more formalized information exchange and disclosure processes. Organizations are responding to these regulations and will continue to see greater standardization of information exchanges. FIRST provides a crucial forum where we can collaboratively address these changing demands. My experience with FIRST has been transformative. The organization is filled with excited, smart, experienced people who enthusiastically help newcomers. I knew a little bit about CVSS and the vulnerability management ecosystem before joining, but I learned so much more by simply jumping in. There were always people willing to teach and share their knowledge. What makes FIRST truly special is its comprehensive approach to cybersecurity. Today, I'm talking about a very specific part of the overall information security arena when we discuss CVSS and vulnerability management. FIRST addresses public-private sector issues, malicious software, AI, and countless other topics. If it exists in cybersecurity, there's a group at FIRST examining it. Working with diverse teams at Cisco and through FIRST has given me a greater understanding that there are real people making difficult security decisions every day. It's easy as a vendor to think about vulnerabilities in an academic way, but working with other teams has shown me these decisions have real consequences for organizations worldwide. That's why we must communicate clearly about vulnerability impacts to help make the internet safer. If you're considering getting involved with FIRST, my advice is simple. Don't wait, just do it. There are numerous groups looking for individuals interested in contributing, regardless of skill level or experience. You'll find smart, generous professionals willing to share their expertise as long as you show up and help where you can. By joining FIRST, you become part of a global effort to make us all safer in an increasingly complex digital world. The collaboration and knowledge sharing that happens within this community truly makes a difference in how organizations approach cybersecurity challenges.